This is Jay Martin.
Look, you're going to hear a ton of predictions, a ton of opinions, a ton of forecasts. And we do extensive diligence on everybody who grabs a mic on our stage. They've got a good track record. They put their money where their mouth is. They have skin in the game, right? They're not just talking. Despite all of that, the predictions, the forecasts, the opinions, the strategies that you hear, I encourage everybody to take it all with a grain of salt. Now, why do I say that? I'm not cutting down our speakers, the opposite. Nobody knows what's going to happen next, ever, right? We make really good educated guesses. We do our research, right? But no one truly knows what's going to happen next. And so, as a consequence, we got all kinds of people who disagree on this stage. In fact, this morning's panel, this is going to be fun. I had two people who specifically asked me not to put them on a panel together. So you know what I did, right? There might be some fireworks on our silver panel this morning. But Rick Rule's there as well. He used to be a bouncer at a club called Sneaky Pete's just down the street. And I feel like between the two of us, we got this. All right, now why do I say take all these opinions and perspectives and forecasts as a grain of salt? Because if we fall in love with somebody's forecast or somebody's perspective, right, that's when we get hurt. That's when we don't see what's coming. The biggest events, the most consequential events in our life, nobody really sees coming. And if we think about the past, what were those events, right? Black Monday, 9/11, 2008, COVID, of course. Nobody saw these things coming, but they're the most transformational events of our life. And in hindsight, yeah, sure, it's all obvious, right? In hindsight, we saw all this stuff coming. And we can always point to the outlier, right? Oh, Michael Burry saw 2008 crisis coming. They made a movie about him. But the fact that they made a movie about him is very telling. He's called 17 crashes. So how's the track record, right? I have a theory on crash predictions, actually. I think it's worth paying attention to. If an analyst forecasts the crash of a market and it doesn't happen, everybody forgets the next day. But if they forecast a crash and it happens, we turn them into an oracle, the god of finance, who knew what was going to happen before it happened. So the risk-reward ratio is heavily in favor of Chicken Little. So be careful of that, right? Now, the reason it's important to understand that we don't know what's going to happen is because if we believe we know, that's when we get laid out. Crashes happen and we never see them coming. So what's my advice? This is a speculative investment conference, right? That trade show is packed full of early stage junior mining companies, and I'm super aggressive in that sector. I love it. And newsletter writers know, just last week I took a big bite out of Pure Gold. And I'm not telling anybody to do that, right? There's all kinds of things going on there. But I like that bet. Now, why am I comfortable making that bet? Because if it goes to zero, I'm not going to get wiped out. So what I'm saying is, what's most important is building yourself some sort of financial confidence, because you don't know what's going to happen next. We can look at gurus in the sector like Rick Rule. He's been doing this for 40 plus years, top of the business, right? How has Rick Rule become Rick Rule? You could ask him, I don't know what he would tell you, but I can give you my guess. He became Rick Rule because he stayed in the game. He never got wiped out. Whatever he put on the table in the spec market, he put 5 more in the bank account. He put 5 more in the war chest. Put 5 more in the safe, whatever that was. So whatever he's playing with on the table, he can lose it and he's still going to sleep in the next day. And that's not really exciting advice, I get it. But the smartest thing we can do is stay in the game. And the only way we stay in the game is by acknowledging we don't know what's going to hit us tomorrow. So how do we prepare for something we don't know about, right? We keep the war chest full. For every dollar in the spec market, 5 goes somewhere else, hidden away. So I'm telling you to do the boring stuff first. I had a legendary investor on my podcast. His name is Jim Rogers. Most people know who that is. One of the most famous investors ever. He's up there with George Soros, Paul Tudor Jones, Ray Dalio. And Jim was allocating a ton of cash to one idea. You know what that idea was? It was Russian companies. This is 3 months ago. Russian utilities, equities, energy companies, and businesses. Now, obviously, that didn't play out very well for him. But has Jim lost Has he lost it? Has he lost the knack? Or did he just get blindsided? Now, on paper, it was a really great decision, right? Russia's a country with positive real rates, super low debt, very diverse commodity exporter as we head into a commodity supercycle. So by every metric, this is a great decision. So was Jim wiped out? Of course not, right? Of course not. So look, I talk about financial confidence for that reason. We can have the confidence to make those high-risk bets knowing we're not going to get wiped out. Okay. So in a minute, I'm going to welcome our panelists to the stage. Is this resonating? This may not be the most exciting way to open up a speculative investment conference, but I just feel like all I can do is share my book, and this is how I approach things, right? And I've known way too many people over the years who are quick to order the most expensive bottle of wine in the restaurant, and the next year they can't pay their taxes, right? Let's not be those people. How about that, right? When we're confident, we know we have something in the safe, we make better decisions, we think more clearly, we think long term, right? When we're operating from a place of fear, we're panicked, we're thinking short term, we're thinking about self-preservation in the now, and it doesn't serve us, right? It's not smart investing. We don't make better decisions that way. You know, when I was growing up, I used to get bullied a ton, actually, when I was a little kid, and so I lived in fear, right? I'd have to get off the bus 2 stops past my house because between the stop close to my house and my house was a crew that I didn't want to bump into. It was always bad news. So I'd live in fear and I'd live in panic, right? And self-preservation, right now decisions. And then I became a gym rat and I started training martial arts. And I didn't become an aggressive person, still not, but I learned how to handle myself. And what that gave me was a new tool, right? A new tool in my back pocket. Just knowing that I was good. So when I was faced with that crisis, I had that new option in my back pocket, which was that I could just sit there and do nothing. I didn't have to worry. I didn't have to react or respond. I could just sit and wait. That's physical confidence. I want financial confidence. When the sky falls and the markets crash or a decision goes the wrong way, I want to be able to sit and wait. I don't want to be panic selling. I don't want to be pivoting quickly, trying to figure out how I'm going to stay alive. I want to be VRIC Rule. I want to stay at the table comfortably, laughing, right?
This is Jay Martin.